I saw this interview where you spoke about domestic violence and how it affected your life in multiple ways. Can you speak to that in the different ways it affected your life?
Well, yeah, domestic violence, what I mean? I really didn't know that I was infected with that blood until I started doing that myself. You know what I'm saying? Like my real father, when I was young, I remember him beating my mom, you know what I'm saying? And always wanting his way. And even to the point that one time I saw him hold her down on the bed and force herself on her. And as a kid, I grew up seeing that until my stepdad stepped in. You feel me? And to that time, I saw that. And when my stepdad came in, it was like everything was good from there. But then when I got with my baby mom, I would say around 14, 15 years old, because I told you I grew up early. And me and her started dating. I was like 14. Before my daughter was born around 16, I found myself putting my hands on her. And even though I wasn't like punching her or nothing like that, I still was shaking her, slapping her. You know what I'm saying? It's still a form of domestic violence. You feel me? And at that time, I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? And when I was in the streets, things would tick me off. I come back having a bad day. I sometimes take it out on her, more verbal. But even though it's more verbal, sometimes they rather get hit than dumb. You talking to them reckless, calling them the B word, or saying stuff that really hurts their feelings. And I never knew that, you know what I'm saying, because I was still a kid. And that's when I started noticing as I got older, like, damn, I'm hurting the people I really love, the people that's riding out for me, you know what I'm saying? And I see my sisters go through it, my mother, the main one. And I said, I'm infected with this man's blood that I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to do something, with domestic violence. And that's why I do the type of music I do, you know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, it heals myself. And I get to talk to ladies about domestic violence, and, they pay close attention. They like, why do you feel like you could talk about it? And I tell them, because I was the one that used to be the abuser. And you know what I'm saying? I'm learning from y'all just as much as y'all hearing it from me, you know what I'm saying? And you'd be surprised, man, as it did wonders. That song did wonders because it touched so many ladies that are, to this day, years later, I still go to different places and still talk to ladies that dealt with domestic violence and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised, it uplifts them, and the message is just the best feeling in the world, you know what I mean, to help stop domestic violence, especially today with the youth, the way it's going now, you know what I mean, and not understanding the concept of how they can become abusive towards their spouse, their girlfriend, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, man, definitely. So for you, that image of your biological father doing that to your mom stuck in your head until you were 5 years old, to be able to see how a real man is supposed to treat a woman, and he became that model for you, that he modeled those behaviors that were more appropriate, right, in the household. And so for you, it seems like it was like building inside of you for a long time. Would you say that you kind of suppressed that until like it came to be when you were older?
Yeah, I would say that's what, you know what I mean, it suppressed it. And in ways, it was just a thing that it felt, at the time, it felt like you know more than the female, you know what I'm saying? And that you could control. And the men got this thing that they could say more than a woman, you know what I'm saying, that they're always right and the woman is you know what I mean, is not right, or she don't know nothing. And you get into this habit that you think you above them, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're above a female. And if I never disrespected my mother, to the times that my mom slapped me in the face with an open hand when I was already a grown man. I was already 20 something years old. I just looked at my mom and I said, Mom, I love you. I'll talk to you later, and walked away because that's how much I respected my mother. You know what I'm saying? So if I respected my mother that way, why should I be hurting somebody else that's the mother of my kid or somebody I love? You know what I'm saying? And that's just what made me get a grip of everything. And you know what I'm saying? And put it into perspective, Chop. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I definitely wasn't going to live with that. And I basically was a coward at the time, you know what I'm saying? And not even know it. How can I be a real nigga or a real man doing shit like that? You know what I'm saying?
So one thing I thought that you brought up that was really important was that sometimes the verbal abuse, or a lot of times actually, it's even just as bad, if not worse, because of how you breaking them down to feel like less than a human being. You know what I mean? And like you said, like, you know, you having kids and everything like that, you don't want to model that kind of behavior for them to either think that's acceptable to do or to have done to themselves, especially with you having a daughter and everything, you know, like that's really important, man. So that's real commendable that like you were able to see that kind of behavior and make music about it, make art about it, and really speak to others to spread that message of how it's really important to see that this is this is a problem.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. And I never noticed how much of a problem it was till I started going out there, you know, talking to some of the females that was going through domestic violence. I didn't even know some of the facilities that was available for females that went through it and went through that whole process of healing because they had an abusive relationship. And some of the stories, man, it made me realize, like, man, I'm glad I like nipped that shit in the bud from the rip, because it's that's an ugly thing to be, man. You know what I'm saying? A man that makes a woman feel like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely grateful to the Lord that I changed my life around and did better. You know what I'm saying? And bettered myself. You know what I mean? To teach my sons, you know, never ever put your hand on a female or even degrade her by using your mouth as a weapon too. Because the
Right.
mouth could be, you know, your mouth could be just as worse as you putting your hand on a female. The verbal abuse is 10 times worse.